These pint-sized players may be years away from the major leagues, but they're not that far away from one of the game's giants, the San Francisco Giant. Barry Bonds cheers on his son who plays left field, just like Dad.
Good job, way to hustle! Way to go,
We have the best team, but we don't have the best record either.
It's an odd suburban scene. The all-star player chatting it up with all the other Little League moms and dads. But it doesn't last long. Bonds has his own game that afternoon at Pac-Bell Park. In this, his 15th year in the major leagues, Bonds is having one of his best seasons to date, thrilling fans by launching home runs out of the Giants' new stadium and into the Bay, asserting himself once again as one of baseball's marquee players. It's a far cry from the last few seasons when Bonds was overshadowed by the Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa home run derbies. Sosa, McGwire, Griffey, they were the big names over the last few years. You got lost in the shuffle of all the big home runs.
You know, you can't get mad at those things. I mean, you can't get mad at another person's story. I don't get mad.
They forgot about you.
That's okay. You can forget about me. I mean, baseball, my peers don't forget about me.
Bonds looking up at the fence, leaps and makes the catch.
It's hard to forget about Bonds on the field or in the clubhouse where he commands an entire corner of the room with a color TV and an ergonomic recliner. Far more extravagant than his teammates' standard locker room fare. But while his superstar status accords him these luxuries, it has also made him a target for criticism from the press. You have not had the best relationship in the world with the media in your career. Why do you think that is?
I think part of it was my fault. I mean, I'm man enough to admit the things that I've done in the past, and I've shunned them away.
Some of the descriptions that have been written about you: arrogant, aloof, sullen, brash, insensitive, self-serving, self-centered, moody, chronic complainer. You've been hammered pretty good.
Most of them are inaccurate.
Which ones are accurate?
Moody could be accurate, because I could be moody. When I'm preparing myself for a game, sure, I'm moody, because I'm getting my game face ready for what I have to do. And to come over to me and say, hey, Barry, can I have an interview? I'm like, no, I'm not. No, not now. And you push the issue, then that mood comes. Here comes the mood swings. And so I came at you in a very negative way. When really, I think about it later, I'm like, you know, that was kind of bad.
Did you go back and say anything to the guys?
No, because they never come back and say anything to us when they write bad articles.
So while for most of his career, Bonds' relationship with the media has been icy at best, this season there's been a noticeable thaw. Bonds is everywhere.
Barry Bonds.
On television, in magazines.
It is the Barry Bonds Show on KMBR 680.
Even on his own weekly sports talk radio show, which he broadcasts from the ballpark before game time.
It's a great honor for me to be able to talk with you guys and to be able to have the public actually hear my voice.
I'm just learning, if you want the public to like you, then you have to let the media like you. That's just what it comes down to, because the public reads just what the newspaper writes.
To understand Bonds' complicated relationship with the media, you first need to know his pedigree. He counts among his cousins Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, and three-time pennant winner Reggie Smith. And his father, Bobby Bonds, was an all-star player with the Giants from 1968 to 1974.
I think every parent's dream is really to see their children grow up and be successful, regardless of what they do. Some of us are fortunate that some of our kids do follow in our footsteps, you know, and I think that Barry's footsteps went a little bit further than mine.
When Bobby Bonds played for the Giants, he befriended a baseball legend who became Barry's godfather, the great Willie Mays.
Coming to Candlestick when he was 4 years old, he virtually grew up on a baseball field. He learned to love baseball, and his encouragement, I think, not only came from me, but from so many ball players that he was around since he was born.
I have so many people that I look up to, and they happen to be in my family, and they all happen to be stars. And so, you know, carrying that torch is very, very tough. I have these ghosts that haunt me constantly with the success that they've had throughout their careers.
Was it a burden at one point, having all those ghosts in your family?
Oh, big time. I mean, I think that was part of the biggest problem of me in the media at the beginning of my career. I think that's what really hurt me a lot, because it was always, oh, hi, Bobby. No, Barry. You know, are you going to be like your cousin Reggie Jackson, hit 500 home runs? I just want to be Barry. Are you going to do 30-30 like your father? I still want to be Barry. How about your godfather, Willie? Can I just be Barry? So I kind of rejected them. I kind of, if you didn't accept me, I didn't accept you, a kind of attitude.
Barry Bonds' career began here in Pittsburgh, where with the Pirates, he won 2 National League MVP awards. Bonds would add to that resume a 3rd MVP award, 8 Golden Gloves, and a nod for Player of the Decade, far surpassing even his father's own impressive career. Yet despite all those accomplishments, Bonds is perhaps better known for his attitude.
Barry Bonds is hitting .319 this year.
A lot of people maybe felt Barry was cocky. I thought Barry was confident, and I think there's a difference. Barry had no fear. He had no fear of anything, and I think that's one of the things that's made him a great player.
Jim Leyland joined the Pirates as manager the same year as Bonds and watched his young star develop into an MVP. But Leyland also witnessed Bonds' surly behavior with reporters, teammates, and management. In one incident, Leyland snapped when Bonds refused to allow a cameraman to take his picture.
We had our moments, we had our arguments, but it was kind of like a family argument, like the son testing dad. I never saw a vicious, bad type attitude. I saw that testing type attitude. You know, how far can I push the skipper here? I mean, how long is it going to take before he snaps? What can I get away with here?
Get upset.
Bonds' father questions the media's motive in running all the negative stories.
Barry doesn't drink, Barry doesn't smoke, Barry doesn't do drugs, Barry doesn't get in no trouble. So what I can't see is what the problem is. You know, he does not do these things. He may be tired and want to go home, but that's a major problem, because Barry Bonds is tired and he wants to go home.
It doesn't help that what little the public typically sees of Bonds off the field is often also negative. Just a month ago, Bonds appeared in California State Supreme Court hoping to uphold the prenuptial agreement he signed with his first wife, son. The couple split in 1993, and their messy divorce settlement has made headlines for years. Bonds remarried in 1998, and he credits his second wife, Elizabeth, along with his kids, with his newfound attitude. It's a softer side Bonds is now making sure the cameras see. Barry's clearly made an attempt to be more media-friendly this year, but there are some people that say that, you know, it's probably insincere, that he's just trying to improve his image, and he really hasn't changed that much. What do you say to that?
No, I think he's matured, and I think he's changed. Barry's just figured out that it, you know, doesn't cost anything really to be nice to people, but I think that Barry's very comfortable right now with his life and his lifestyle. And when you're very comfortable and very happy with what you're doing and everything, I think you have a tendency to be probably more cordial to people.
Bye, honey. Bye.
You know, I told my family during the wintertime that I'm going to make an honest effort, because, you know, my son plays baseball, and I see him get mad at things that I'm like, it's not worth it. Sometimes he gets just upset at some of the just off-the-wall things, and I'm like, oh, God, what have I created?
Watching his son play ball reminds Bonds of something that continues to gnaw at him, however, making it to a World Series, the same feat that eluded his father. So far, only the youngest Bonds has won a title.
And he won a championship his first year. I've never won a championship in my life.
At any level?
At any level. I can tell you, I've been in Little League championship loss. I've been in 3 high school championships lost. I've been to 2 college World Series and lost. I've been to 3 playoffs with the Pittsburgh Pirates and lost.
What's the matter with you?
1997 playoffs, lost. I don't care what anyone talks about the Denver Broncos or anybody else. I've lost more championships in my life than ever. I mean, I almost get numb at times that it just eats me up so bad at times.
Would you leave San Francisco to do something like that? Is it that important?
That question right there is very, very tough. Kids over a ring. And me going somewhere else to be away from my children is very, very hard for me to answer that question for you right now. I want to win. I want to win. I want to know what it feels like.
Come on, Nikolai, right to you.
I'm going to win a championship one way or another, and if it's not through me, I have a championship through my son.
Good help, Nikolai.
Because he knows how to win. He won the league championship.